Hi, this is Robin Frank. This is my final project presentation. What I've done is I've taken a chapter out of a middle school ancient civilization and moved it to a virtual reality environment. Here in the first scene, what you're seeing is a mock-up of the ancient civilizations that might be available in the future. You've got potentially ancient China, you've got ancient Greece, you've got ancient Egypt, and you've got the Viking civilizations. So one might be able to log in here, go through and look at the various options and select the appropriate field of study. This was all done online. Took the virtual reality samples through the Unity engine. Um, so some of this was pretty prefabricated. I ended up editing it for the content for today. Um, the virtual reality, you can see the HTC Vive system is what's being used. This is sort of a pointer caster, anything where the line goes and hits and collides with something. It means it's a selectable item. And so once you select on the trigger, it will be placed inside the Viking village. This is the Viking village. You kind of present it on the outside of the village. You start to appreciate a little bit of the scale. The video is difficult to see. So obviously not virtual reality, so this just looks like a lot of head movement. I apologize. This is definitely something that is um, head motion, so any type of head moves, it picks it up on the system. The navigation is not by a graphical unit or a controller. You use the HTC Vive system. Wherever the pink dot is at, you just teleport to that location. Little point of reference, you can see just watching the video, it looks like the Blair Witch Project at times. Can make some people nausea. The controller actually, was really bad because you'd walk in one direction and your head would be moving in another direction. So this teleportation kind of allows you to jump from location to location. The beginning of the gate, you can start to see the idea that, hey, if this is a scavenger hunt, go find the gate. Once you find the gate, a bunch of text and information would pop up. The student might have to go through and read all of that. Once they click on the button, it would give you the particular token. In this working model, it's not there, um, but you can start to see how, from a proof of concept, it's there. Once you get inside the village, you can start to appreciate a little bit of the scale of what a village might look like. You start to see some of the natural resources. Wood is obviously there. See the metal bands around the posts. Allows for discussions in terms of where do the trees come from, because it's not like you just walk through a tree. They must be mining metal from somewhere, and if those resources aren't available nearby, then they either have to go further and further up the hills, or in the case of the Vikings, hence the reason why they decided to, possibly one of the reasons why they decided to become great shipbuilders and conquering the seas. So as we get back into the kind of the navigation here, and you can really start to see somebody looking around. You can start navigating through the city, different aspects of it. You can start to see fencing, um, start to see some of the building structures, and start to appreciate some of the scaffolding. And most of this stuff is pre-built through the Viking Village demo, so I didn't have to go through all of the labor of building the environment. What I just did was integrate sort of the concept of taking a village such as this, and instead of giving a student a lesson where they had to read 20 minutes, 30 minutes of work, that they could really kind of see some of this stuff firsthand. Again, some of the details that you see, scroll work on an interior building. Here's a sword, just in order to play around with the environment to increase the level of engagement. I program that sword that you can pick it up and mess around with it. You could actually see it, something that you couldn't do in any type of a museum. Just pick up a sword like that, and although it doesn't give you the heft or anything else, you do get a sense of realism by picking up a sword in a virtual reality environment. You kind of see that gravity's in play there. Again, some of the scroll work on dragons. You see some shields, some of the armor, some of the architecture, the Viking Age. Again, the Viking Age goes back almost 1,000 years. Um, shed, again, I just picked 10 random tokens throughout the village, kind of place them, kind of incented the students to kind of walk around. I'm not really pausing a lot of this stuff, mostly because um, you're not here to, to read about the Viking village, but that this is just one way that students can kind of go look through and appreciate that a shovel that we take for granted was really state of the art technology back then. Um, Viking boats. This is a dragon longboat. Um, Obviously, one of the more feared ones that placed the dragons on the edge of it. Um, just kind of walk around and look at the village. You can kind of sense the mud on the ground. Um, if you can kind of imagine it, even if there was an environment like this for students and teachers, you just couldn't go on a field trip like this. One, these places don't exist unless it's a movie set or a TV show set, and even if you did, you talk all the logistics of trying to have some type of experience. So, um, again, I assure you that looking at this on virtual reality is far more immersive than it looks like in the video. But you can still get a sense of the realism of being on the seashore, understanding that, hey, if I don't have any of these natural resources, I've really depleted everything. There's no real forests anywhere nearby. My only location is either go up the mountain, which I've probably already done, or go out to sea. And I'm already out at sea, going after all of the fishing and stuff like that. So I'll take you through the rest of the village here. And again, I apologize. This looks a lot different in a video than it does in the VR headset. You don't realize that your head is moving as much as it is, but you can imagine that if you're a student, you've never really seen Vikings or anything else, then you can figure out there's a fish on the stick, kind of really talking about some of the food and the nutrition of the Vikings. Another sword. Talk a little bit more about the sword. Here's a situation where I kind of overlap some of the information. You get close enough to the ruin, and you can find a little bit more about the ruin. And then you're going to walk up these planks, um, kind of get the experience, realize how much they built on top of each other. Firewood they had to stack and store, hence the reason for some sheds. Barrels were obviously an important piece of technology just for them to take it out of the ships, and then the students or instructors can really kind of go out and explore some of the landscape, whether this is to scale or not. It's still pretty interesting to kind of go out and take a view of the environment, the terrain, of the geography of what they had. And again, even though you read about this in the book, you get a little bit different perspective when you're standing on a hill, kind of looking over a village. And so that's the concept: is to take a bunch of technology, take information out of the classroom, integrate it within a lot of the 3D world, get kids to go out and explore, and kind of get them to be more engaged in not only ancient civilizations, get them engaged in thinking about how long shovels have been around, what was state of the art back then, what they didn't have, how they can see information presented in a different environment. So much they can discuss, and so much that wasn't even presented, like these cranes didn't even have any text boxes. So it really gives the kid a lot of opportunity to ask a bunch of questions about things that they might not ever appreciate, that's located within a textbook. So hope you enjoyed the program, and thank you very much for watching and listening. Bye.